I see Misty from Raleigh, Jen from Harrisburg. Good morning from Happy Valley. Paul, as always, up in Cape Cod. Paul Curvin out in New Jersey representing the class of 71. I see Heather from Hummelstown. Denise Sullivan right here in State College. Good morning, everybody. We'll be getting started in just a minute. And good morning to everybody on Facebook Live. We are streaming live. If you have a question for today's participant, go ahead and drop that in the chat box or in the comments on Facebook Live. We're going to get to as many of those as we possibly can. Absolutely, Robert. Thank God we can finally say hindsight is 2020. It's good to be in 2021. Welcome to the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. We'll be getting started in just 1 minute. I see Ian King, our Atlanta chapter leader, joining us. Good morning, Ian. Hope you didn't have a late night last night, staying up to watch election returns. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of the Coffee Hour. Each week on Coffee Hour, you can expect to hear the voices of Penn Staters talking about what they're passionate about, and you can expect to feel the pride and the power of the Penn State network. Today, we are going to talk to VIP Matchmaker and Love Recruiter, Dara Rahill. As a VIP matchmaker and love recruiter for America's top matchmaking company, Dara creates a curated dating experience for the nation's most successful singles. Forget the endless swipe and messaging. Dara implements executive recruiting strategies to find high quality date candidates, interviews them to assess compatibility, and plans fun, romantic introductions for her clients. Prior to joining the matchmaking industry, Dara held a more traditional career as a school psychologist. And I'm excited to welcome in Penn State alumna Dara Rahill to Coffee Hour. Good morning, Dara.
Hi, good morning, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Let's start right at the very beginning. How did you become a Penn Stater?
Sure. So I grew up in the Philadelphia suburbs, and really the main reason at first was for the in-state tuition, to be perfectly honest. And then everyone always touted that we have the largest alumni network in the world, which is funny now that I'm here. And then, football, of course. And I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I like the idea of coming to a big school with so many majors and areas to explore.
When you were here at Penn State, what activities were you involved in?
So let's see, I was a research assistant at a monkey lab for 2 years. Okay. I don't know if it's still there, but it was Dan Weiss's lab, and we did non-invasive behavioral experiments with monkeys in a psychology lab, which I loved. I was involved in a community service organization, spent some weekends canning, of course. And I also trained and conditioned with the boxing team my senior year, though I decided, I didn't really enjoy getting punched. Right. So I never really had to fight, but I did the training, and it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that leads perfectly into my next question from the boxing ring. What was it about Penn State that prepared you for your career as a VIP matchmaker and love recruiter?
So I was a psychology major, and there is a lot of psychology involved in matchmaking and, helping people and supporting them through their dating lives, which is such an emotional experience to go through, all of the ups and downs that can be involved in that. I was also really shy before college. which is funny now because I probably have the most extroverted job in the world. So I think going to a big school really forced me to push myself out of my comfort zone and come out of my shell.
This is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford. I'm joined by VIP Matchmaker and Love Recruiter, Dara Rahill. Dara, certainly one of the more flashier titles that we have ever had here on Coffee Hour. But let's talk a little bit about your career. So, how did you get into matchmaking? That there doesn't seem to be. You said you majored in psychology, but there's not really a way to major in this kind of work. So, how did you fall into this?
Exactly. It definitely is an unexpected career that I never thought I would end up in. So let's see where to begin. I was working as a school psychologist, which is a little known field within education where you do assessments and interventions for children with disabilities or suspected disabilities. And so I enjoyed it. I loved my coworkers. I loved working with students. I loved making a difference, but I just always had this feeling in my gut that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. But I had a great stable career. So it was like, why would I give that up? And so after becoming a mother, I realized that, if I spent some time at home and just kind of exploring different career options, it would be the perfect time to kind of have a gap in my resume. So I decided, let me give myself 6 months to see what else is out there. How else can I apply my skill set? And if it doesn't work out, I'll just go right back to school psychology and that's perfectly fine. And so a couple of months into everything, I really wasn't finding anything that I was super interested in and, wanted to explore or apply for. And I had all this extra time on my hands. And I've always been that friend that people come to for dating advice and who do you know? And so I started spending my extra free time matching my friends just for fun and set up like a coworker with a friend and set up a friend of mine with my husband's friend. And so maybe 3 months into this, exploration of mine, my husband and I were given 4 tickets to a Sixers game. So we invited his friend and a woman who had recently started dating. And so we met at the game and she was a matchmaker, a therapist turned matchmaker. And I was like, wait a minute, that's what I do for fun. Like, this is a real job. Tell me everything. So I have no idea what happened at that Sixers game because I spent the whole time just picking her brain. And then a few weeks later, she told me the company was expanding and looking to hire. And so I was brought on and trained and mentored and started working with clients. And then really in that first year, I established myself at the company for being a top recruiter. And so I was invited to join the VIP department, which is our most premier experience where people get, coaching, working with seasoned matchmakers and have the top recruiters searching for candidates for them.
So walk us through the steps. Like, how do you build your clientele? How do people come to your service? Talk a little bit about, the process here.
Sure. So I work for a national matchmaking company called Talkify. So they do a lot of advertisements. People may have seen them on Facebook or Instagram. So that's one way that clients come in. A lot of referred through friends and referrals through people who had a positive experience. And so that's definitely a nice thing is that a lot of matchmakers have to go out and find clients on their own. And I'm lucky to be in a position where I don't have to do that and I'm not in sales. And I really just get to have my sole focus being on the clients and their love lives.
So, all right. So I haven't been in the dating scene for 30 years, right? Happily married, right? And dating has changed certainly since that time, right? There's the apps where people can download an app and try to find other people who are on that app, and it seems like there's a new one of those popping up, or at least a commercial for a new one of those popping up on television each day. There's the bachelor model, right, where it's you going on to a television show and trying to find love in 20 some episodes. And then there's what you do. What's the difference between those 3 processes, right? And what makes your process the one that really works for people?
Sure. So honestly, I don't have a problem with the apps. I don't want to bash any
Right.
other forms. I think anyone who's putting themselves out there and meeting new people and trying is doing the right thing, if they're looking for love. So the reason people come to matchmaking is most commonly because they've tried the apps and they're just so tired of them. I mean, they've been around for a long time at this point. And so if someone goes through a breakup and I've never heard someone say, yes, I'm downloading Tinder again. What I often hear is that people are reluctantly using those sites and using those apps. And they're also time consuming. It can feel like a part-time job. So for successful professionals, matchmaking is a way to essentially outsource your dating life and to have someone do the vetting. So you find out, do you have things in common with this person? Do you have the same goals for the future? Do they want children? Are they really looking for a relationship? All those things that you really can't ask on a first date unless you want to kill the chemistry, right? So, instead of all that time, people get to just work with a matchmaker, have that buddy, that partner, that coach through their dating life, who really gets to know them and what they're looking for, and then does all the work. So our clients get a phone call saying, hey, I have a date for you. And then you show up and see if there's a connection. So that's definitely the number one reason people come. The other reason people come to matchmaking versus the apps or maybe the Bachelor, I don't know, is because they're more high profile. We work with a lot of high profile CEOs and some celebrities who, you're not going to see on those platforms. Like, Oprah's been with Stedman for years, but if she was single, I don't think you would see her on Bumble. She might come to a matchmaker if she feels like she's met all the single people within her own personal circle.
So I got to tell you, when we started advertising this session, and we have a recurring group of folks who we've gotten to know that tune into this. Some of the phone calls that I've received about, hey, what's this all about? Like, what are we talking about today? We're hysterical. And I'm not going to go into those conversations, but what it did kind of highlight for me is that there might be some misconceptions about the work that you do. So what are some of those misconceptions and how would you address those?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess some people think that matchmakers are like a little out there. And what you'll find when you meet them is that we're definitely a group of educated professionals. I'm not psychic. I don't think I'm psychic. I don't have these magic powers, though. A good matchmaker definitely has what we call a matchmaker's intuition, where yes, these people make sense on paper together, but you also have that gut feeling like, wow, this is going to be a great match. Another thing, sometimes clients will come in and expect to be matched once and find the love of their life, and they'll just know immediately, and then they'll go the distance. And more often than not, it's a process where the client continues to work on their own self and their dating skills, and then simultaneously the matchmaker is learning more about who works for them and who doesn't, and so each match really builds on the next.
So what does it mean to be a love recruiter, right? We think about the word recruiter, and I think about it in terms of athletics, right? Trying to find and get a student athlete to come to your school and recruit them to play a sport there, or in the job market, right? There's recruiters out there trying to find talent for the position that you have open. But how do you recruit for an emotion like love?
Yeah, I know. I probably have one of the most unique job titles in the world. It's really fun. So it's really not that different from any form of recruiting, but instead of looking to fill a position, I'm looking to see who's genuinely looking for a relationship and could be compatible with my clients. So my company has over 400,000 singles in our database, but of course people are always getting in and out of relationships. So we're always looking to expand that. And we want to have as many options as possible for our clients. So that's my main role in the company. I talk to my team and we say, hey, we need some support with this client. They're looking to date here. This is what they're looking for. And then I go out there and see who I think has potential to be a match for them, and then send that person over to the matchmaker. And so, with the pandemic, of course, most recruiting now for everybody is happening online. I definitely want to be safe first. I'm not traveling around the country right now, though I do hope, for that to happen in the near future, hopefully in 2021. So it's a lot of connecting with people on LinkedIn, social media platforms, hosting virtual events, attending events like today. If anyone listening is looking to be matched, we can certainly talk about that as well. And, happy to recruit anyone.
All right. So my next question here, I'm going to ask it a little differently. I was going to ask it miscongeniality style and ask what's the perfect date. But we all know it's April 25th, right?
Yeah, I thought it was the 15th, April 25th. Okay.
April 25th is the perfect date. But what are your tips for having a successful first date? You've identified two people, you've made the match, they agree to go on that date. Then how do they make sure that there's a successful first date?
Yeah, I love that question. So number one is go in with no expectations. If you've painted a picture of someone in your mind before you meet them, they're very unlikely to fit that profile that you created in your head, and you can be setting yourself up for disappointment. So go in with no expectations about the person. Wear something that you feel comfortable and confident in, and be curious about the person. I think too often people go into a date wanting to assess and interview someone, and how do they fit into my life? And could this be my future wife or my future husband? And instead, just ask yourself, what's interesting about this person? What am I curious to learn about them? And you'll be much more likely to stay present and to really connect with that person. And then, of course, please don't put your phone on the table. Too many people do that. And don't talk about politics. I don't think anyone's talking about the Georgia election and then like diving into a passionate kiss. It's just a chemistry killer. Save that for a couple dates in. And don't talk about dating or past relationships. So often it's become so common, especially for millennials, to discuss their worst dating app experiences on a first date and see it as a bonding experience. But what's really happening during that conversation is one or both parties are thinking, how many dates have you been on? What other apps are you on? How many people are you seeing right now? Why did that date go so poorly? How did your behavior attribute to that scenario? So that's like my number one thing that people need to avoid.
So a couple questions coming in. How do people come into the database? You talked about the various avenues that you look to recruit people. But is it? I know you do some advertising, but is there? How much outreach is involved in you asking people to come into your database, and how much is it where people are seeking you out?
Yeah, I would say the majority of people that enter our database find us through advertising. So advertisements are looking for clients, but they're also looking for passive members who can be, in our pool to be matched with the paying clients. So that's definitely the bulk. And then my job is more like the minority of people, to really boost and find really high quality people that have specific qualities, and we're looking for specific clients. Whereas the advertising is more like bringing in numbers.
So you mentioned part of your job is actually in some instances, creating that first date experience, something that's memorable. So what do some of those experiences look like? What are some of the favorite ones that you have put together?
Yeah, so I like to keep things pretty simple. It's funny, in the beginning, I wanted to plan these like elaborate dates, like go on a scavenger hunt or like meet on the Brooklyn Bridge and have this like whole plan for them for the day. But what I found is that takes away from really like the connection happening. And the most important thing is finding an environment where you can hear each other, where you can feel comfortable and free of distractions. So sometimes that means just knowing like the best restaurant to go to grab a drink, a picnic in a park, I think taking a walk, anything where you're moving but still able to have a conversation is good. One date I really liked was this, I don't know how to explain it, but it was in DC, and it was this like a virtual art experience that these people were able to walk through, like, those interactive exhibits
Right.
that are like becoming pretty popular. So they went to one of those, and it was nice because it was still quiet, and they could have a conversation, and they really bonded, and the two of them ended up dating.
So what is rewarding, interesting, kind of most surprising? Well, what's the most rewarding, interesting kind of part of your job? What makes you kind of jump out of bed the next morning to want to do it all again?
Yeah, I love my job. I'm always excited to go to work. Um, I think the most rewarding is the obvious. It's when people find love. It's getting a text message or an email from a client with a photo of them, cheersing because they, made their relationship official. It's engagement announcements. It's the best feeling in the world. And then besides that, just in my day to day, it's I get to meet interesting people from all over the country with all sorts of experiences, living interesting lives that I can only imagine. And it's I feel really privileged to be in a position where I get to have these unique, confidential conversations with these people.
Excellent. So we have some questions coming in here. Some have been pre-submitted, some are being submitted live. So I want to make sure I get to as many of those as I possibly can. When you're looking to make matches, right? How rigid are you in matching people that are approximately the same age? 2 to 3 years, a decade difference. Um, how does all that work? Because I think one of the misconceptions, and this is another question that's come in, another misconception is that men come into your database and they're looking for younger women, right? Uh, so how do you go about that matchmaking from an age and gender perspective?
Yeah, I love that question. It comes up a lot. And we always want to respect people's individual preferences, and everyone's life circumstances are different. So you really can't separate into just men or just women. But with men, more often than not, when they're looking to date someone younger, it's because they're hoping to have biological children. And so that tends to be a factor. So let's say I have a client come in his 50s, and he says, he's been working really busy his whole life, and he's ready to settle down and really wants a family. Most women in their 50s have had children if that was their life journey. And so he'll probably be looking to date someone younger than him. And so of course I'm going to respect those preferences. But let's say someone comes to me and they're like, I want to date someone 40 years younger than me just because that's who I'm attracted to, then that person probably isn't going to be a fit for the service. But most people, I would say, are open to dating someone at least 10 years younger or 10 years older than them.
So before we got on the call and we came live, you mentioned January is one of the more popular, is probably the most popular month for the work that you do. D- What is it? What is it about? At least in the north, right? January is a colder month, right? What is it about this time of year, or is it the weather and that more people are staying in? Is it that they've made New Year's resolutions? What's the psychology behind why January is one of your better months?
I mean, you nailed it on the head, Paul. So, one is New Year's resolutions and people just feeling reinvigorated. It's a new year, setting their intentions. And if, I just spoke with the woman yesterday. I recruited her. I reached out to her and she said, "It's so funny. I was just telling my boss how my New Year's resolution is to meet my husband this year." She's like, "This feels so meant to be." And then the other reason is what you mentioned. It's colder. People aren't outside socializing. They want to hunker down and get cozy and watch Netflix with someone.
Absolutely. So a number of questions, some situational questions coming in that you may or may not have a perspective on, but people who are re-entering the dating world after a relationship, whether they were married and divorced, um, one the question that's come in here is, how do you find love again after a divorce? I have teenage children, and it seems like love will be difficult due to their ages and wanting to introduce kind of another person into their lives, or other people into their lives as you go through the dating process.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on that, or your advice on that?
Yeah, I think everyone's situation is unique and I don't like to generalize. But I know when it comes to parents, I've met plenty of parents who just really put dating on hold until their children were older or out of the house. And then others who find time and find a way to make it work while the kids are still in school. So it's really unique to everyone's situation. And so I'd have to know more about that person's specifics to really speak on it.
Yeah. Another question that's come in, this is, I think, a timely question. With the new virtual world, right, during COVID, how has that affected the work that you do? And how has that affected kind of people finding other people finding love, right? Having to go on a date either virtually and on Zoom or wear a mask or all the other things you have to be concerned about when you meet somebody new during a COVID-19 world. How's that had an impact on the work that you do?
Yeah, it's definitely presented a new set of challenges, but I think there have also been a tremendous amount of silver linings. So this has been a really hard time for everyone, but I think a lot of singles in particular. I spoke with a man last week who told me that he hadn't hugged anyone in 8 months, and
Right.
he was so lonely and really wanted to meet someone. And he was an older gentleman and was really being careful to only meet people virtually. So Zoom dating, FaceTime dating is just part of our vernacular now. So that's been very interesting navigating that. And some people have really embraced it and, grab a glass of wine and have a nice top on and then their sweatpants below and have a little date and really connect with someone virtually until they decide that they think there's a real connection and then decide to, really bring each other into their pandemic bubbles or their quarantine bubbles. But the nice thing about this is that I think a lot of people have, really thought about their priorities in life. Everything's really slowed down. And what matters most is our health and our relationships. So we're finding that more people than ever are dating intentionally and really looking for a relationship. And then when there is a connection, people who maybe before had packed social calendars or traveled all the time for work or were just busy with whatever they're doing, have really slowed down and really have the time to get to know a partner and have a really solid foundation.
Another question coming in, do you vet your clients? And if so, do you ever reject applications? And for what types of reasons?
Yeah, so we have a whole department that screens and assesses whether or not a client is a fit. So they go through our member services department.
Okay. Um, some other specific questions coming in. Is there an age limit to the people that you will work with? Can people, a question here, someone in their 70s, am I too old to find love? What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely not. I have clients in their 70s right now who I adore. So our age range is 18 to 80. So I've never had a client who is 18. Most are older. But yeah, you're absolutely never too old to find love.
So, what about people in special situations? A question coming in here. I have mobility issues due to surgeries. In addition to being honest and upfront about my issues, what else can I do to help improve desirability?
Yeah. So anyone with any sort of disability or anything that they think might, impede their lifestyle or impede the ability to date, just it's not about your disability. It's what makes you you, what makes you special. And if you're creating a dating profile, like that's what you want to emphasize. And if you think it's important to disclose, about your disability or whatever may be going on, then absolutely do that. I think that's up to an individual. Um, but yeah, it's about you. It's about what makes you special and what, really describe like what's your lifestyle like. It sounds like you might have mobility issues, but what are the things that you can do? And how
Right.
can that help you connect with a partner and share your time? Whether it's, you love to read and you're looking for someone who likes to, relax and stay in and discuss current events and discuss books and watch movies. So really looking for those connections.
So here's an interesting question. You work as part of a larger company, right? A network, multiple locations. Um, what happens if you say I'm living in a person's living in Philadelphia, but a good match for them lives in Austin, Texas, right? That matches in your database. How do you go about matching people? Do you try to match people locally, or do you kind of throw the doors open to love and say, your match might be somewhere else? How does all that work?
Yeah, so that's completely up to individual clients. Some people know that they have no time to travel and local is all that's going to work for them. And others, especially now more than ever, with so many people working remotely, I'm finding so many more clients and their dates being open to long distance and saying, "Hey, I'm working remotely. I can move for love and make it work." So I think it's amazing when, just the other day we had someone in New York go on a date with someone in San Jose. And they hit it off, and now they're having a virtual connection, and we'll see if that continues.
Question coming in. Say you're using a dating app. What do you think are the most important things to communicate about yourself in your profile? I would think telling the truth would probably be on the top of that list.
Yeah, be honest about your height
Right.
for guys. No. So dating apps, one of the things that bothers me about dating apps is it's such a visual platform. Honestly, it's really all about your photos. So make sure you have photos that really look like you and that highlight your interests. If you're active, have a photo of a recent hike you went on or when you were surfing, or just make sure it captivates you, not just these like professional poised photos that like look like they're a headshot. Have it
Right,
really
right.
capturing your interest so someone can visually see that right away and then want to read information about you.
So, so at the end of the day, what you're doing, right, is the business, right? You work for a company that's trying to make money. So, how do you measure success, right? How much is the service for somebody to pay to use the service? But at the end of the day, kind of how do you measure whether you've had a successful year or not?
Sure. Um, so, it has to be a tangible, measurable um, a way to measure success. And so the main thing that we look at is, we're an introduction service essentially. So we're looking
Right.
at after that match, after that first date, do two people want to see each other again? So do they both say yes to a second date and continue and then meet again? So that's our measure of success because that's what we can control. And of course, like I'm in this for the right reasons. I want people to continue to date and find love, but there's
Right.
so many factors that go into whether or not a relationship is a success or not. So our measurement is that beginning. And so our success rate is that 80% of introductions are interested in seeing each other again.
Um, so, what does your workload look like? How many clients do you have at any one time? Um, uh, Kind of talk through how many folks are kind of assigned to you for matches at any one time.
Sure. So when I started out and I just had the matchmaker role and wasn't officially a recruiter, I usually had about 20 clients at a time. Now that I'm working with a team, it's a different approach. So I'm not assigned specific clients. I'm really working with the team, and every week we look at who needs support, who needs recruiting, and where is that need.
So we from time to time get alumni who ask us, "Hey, you should start a Penn State alumni dating service or a dating site or a dating app, right? Because Penn Staters, they're all alike and they're going to be so compatible with each other." Uh, and we have really hesitated on that for many many good reasons. Probably the best of which is that it's not necessarily part of the mission of an alumni association. But what are your thoughts on that? Just because you have kind of the one thing in common, is that the recipe for compatibility?
I mean, having a similar background and being able to really relate to each other is certainly a nice feature to have, but I don't think it really speaks to anything else. You would definitely need more information. So I don't think it's a terrible idea, but I think really I would advise people looking for that. Just talk to your college friends, see who they know who's single, and go through your own network. Though I was lucky, my husband went to Penn State. We were just friends. We started dating years after college. So I definitely believe in Penn State love stories.
That's great. I don't think it. I agree. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I just don't think it's the right idea for the Alumni Association. We want
Okay.
everyone associated with the Alumni Association to be happy, and so sometimes those relationships don't work out. We don't want that to be attributed to these to the association.
That's
Um,
fair.
this is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford, and I'm joined today by VIP Matchmaker and Love Recruiter Dara Rahill. Well, Dara, we try to have some fun here on Coffee Hour, and so hopefully you've been having fun with some of these questions. But we have some questions that we call the lightning round, and so I'm going to ask you a couple of those quick hitter questions, and then we might have some time at the end to get to some other questions that are coming in here. But first, what's your favorite Penn State memory?
I just think of good times with my friends. I don't know if anything specific comes up, like tailgating, going to games,
Right.
dancing at Indigo.
How about your favorite class at Penn State or favorite professor?
um, I loved my developmental psychology lab. I'm not lab, sorry, my developmental psychology class and the professor, though I don't remember her name.
Um, what has been your most unusual "we are" moment? Right, we hear stories all the time. I was on the Great Wall of China wearing my Penn State hat, and somebody yelled out "we are." What has been your most unusual "we are" experience?
I can't even remember the last time I heard it in person. Um, Someone contacted me on LinkedIn and said, "We are dot 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 getting drinks." And I declined, obviously, but it was actually a cute line if anyone wants to try it out. It can work maybe for that Penn State dating site. That can be their slogan.
Possibly. Your favorite Penn State sport?
Football or crew. My husband was on the crew team, so I'll get brownie points for saying that.
And your favorite flavor of creamery ice cream?
The only name I remember is Peachy Paterno. So let's go with that.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's try to get to a couple other questions. We do have a couple minutes left here today. So, how do you recommend keeping a relationship or a conversation going, given that it might be a while until it's safe to meet a person, to meet in person? And maybe we can even take a little bit of a different angle on this question is, all right, you've had the successful first date, right? How do you keep the conversation going until the second date, right? What's the process look like between the first and second date? So, kind of first part tips on keeping it going until it's safe to meet that person, and then kind of keeping it going until the potential second date.
Yeah, that's a great question, especially now, as you said, when people do want to be careful and not meet right away. And so one thing that's probably changed a lot since the last time you were single, Paul, is how texting is a huge factor in dating and like a
Yeah.
skill people really need to develop to, not be divulging every detail of their life in between dates, but, sharing little funny anecdotes and kind of keeping that interest between dates. That tends to be how most people communicate versus phone conversations. And so, what I think is a great way to do now is, just keep scheduling your next virtual date and make it fun, make plans. Um, Send takeout to your date's house. And then like enjoy a meal together, like send flowers. Do something to make it feel special and romantic. And there are so many resources online now to help people with Zoom dates. Playing games like Heads Up can just be a silly way to connect. Watching a movie together. There's tons of resources. You can do tours of different cities. So there's definitely ways to have unique experiences until you can meet in person.
So, Dara, you have a special offer for people who are zoomed in today with us. That if they are looking to get access to your service, there's a number of questions coming in the Q&A about the dating app, and I'm not going to ask those. I'm not going to ask those questions. I'm just going to essentially say if dating apps aren't working for you, maybe the work that Dara is doing might be a different avenue for you to pursue if those haven't worked for a variety of reasons. But talk about the offer and how people can get into your database.
Sure. So, like I said, I'm always looking for wonderful, educated singles like Penn Staters to potentially meet my clients. So, I think um, in the chat here on Zoom and on Facebook, you'll see a link. That's my personal referral link. And it's an invitation for anyone listening to join our private database at no cost. It's always free when you're personally invited. So, just my gift to my fellow Penn Staters. And that way, my team can check out your profile. And if we have a match for you, we just shoot you a text message asking to set up a call so you can speak with the matchmaker. And if there's a mutual fit, we will set you up on a date.
Absolutely. Dara, thank you so much for joining us on the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Certainly one of the more interesting conversations that I have had about a topic that I haven't thought about in many, many years, but is on the top of mind of a lot of Penn Staters. And the work that you're doing to help bring people together is very similar to what we do at the Alumni Association, right? Keeping people connected. And so thank you for joining us on Coffee Hour. And thank you for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are
Penn State. Thanks, Paul.